So, yan. So, ano yung pinaka-important thing? Wait lang muna natin confirm. Ayan. So, ano yung pinaka-important thing for the chapter 2, part 2? The most important thing is that you know how to determine a chiral carbon. Okay? Kasi, if dun pa lang, you find it difficult to determine kung yan ba ay chiral or achiral, then everything will be very difficult. Okay? So, yun yung first skill that you need to develop. No? The understanding if the carbon is chiral or not. No? So, what is a chiral carbon? So, when you say chiral carbon, that is a carbon that is sp3 hybridized and it is connected to four different group of atoms. No? So, it's not necessarily iba-ibang atom. No? Pwedeng groups of atom. For example, methyl, ethyl, ayan, propyl, something like that. No? So, that can be considered as a chiral carbon. Okay? So, ano yung important thing, no? The carbon must be sp3 hybridized. Okay? Kasi, para magkaroon niya ng apat na bonds with other atoms, it needs to be sp3 hybridized. No? Kasi alam nyo, kapag sp3 hybridized, that the carbon is connected to four different groups. At is, as it used the S and the P hybrid orbitals. No? So, yun yung first thing na kailangan nyo maisip. No? The carbon must be sp3 hybridized so that I can tell if yan ay chiral or not. Okay. Once na may putol-putol audio. Nagagalaw ko yung wire. Okay na ba? Nagalaw ko kanina yung wire. Hello. Ayan, okay na. So, ganun na. So, first thing you need to know is that the carbon must always be chiral. Okay? Sorry. The carbon must be sp3 hybridized. No? So, meaning it should be connected via single bonds, just like this one. Pero, once na makita mo yung carbon na sp3 hybridized, you need to take a look into the atoms surrounding it. No? All of the atoms or the group of atoms must be different. So in my case, this is methyl. Is this a chiral carbon or not? No. Is methyl's carbon chiral or not? Sorry, methane. Methane. Chiral ba to or not? Ang sagot ay, ano? Ito ay not po, ayun. So, hindi siya chiral. Bakit hindi chiral? Kasi as you can see, no, for methane, ilan yung atoms na nakasurround sa kanya? Apat. Okay, so sp3 hybridized siya. However, the atoms that are connected to the carbon are all the same. No? They are all equivalent. Hydrogen to, hydrogen to, hydrogen to, and at the same time, hydrogen din ito. So, if you have four same atoms, ibig sabihin yan that your carbon is not chiral. Okay? Basta may repetitive group of atoms, no? Achiral yon, no? Ibig sabihin, not chiral. Okay? So what if I replace that hydrogen with a different atom, a green atom? Is this chiral or not? So is this chiral or not, no? Tatlong white, isang green. Not pa rin, okay? So hindi pa rin siya chiral. Kasi ano ba sabi ko? Dapat apat na iba-ibang groups of atom. Okay? So in this visualization, it should be four different colors. Okay? So meaning, if I use this, ayan. Ayan. So this is the model na. Okay. Is this chiral or not? Yes, it is now chiral. What made you say na yan ay chiral? Kasi, apat yung iba-ibang colors. Okay? So that's why I highly suggest you to buy styro balls. Mas madali talaga matuto when you have the model with you. Okay? So yun lang. So this molecule is chiral. Okay? So chiral siya in a sense that this is sp3 hybridized carbon, meaning may apat na bonds. Iba-iba yung atoms connected to it. No? May white, may green, may blue, may red. Okay? So that means this is chiral. Now, how about this molecule here? This is still chiral, di ba? Okay, so chiral pa rin ito. Okay? So ito chiral din. Kasi iba-iba yung colors. Meaning, iba-iba yung group of atoms surrounding the atom. If you have a chiral carbon, then probably it has its mirror form. Okay? Kapag may nakita kang chiral carbon, ibig sabihin may reflection yan, no, sa mirror. Okay? Just like your hands, no. Yung hands natin, chiral yan kasi iba-iba yung sizes ng ating daliri. So basically parang chiral hand to. Okay? So ibig sabihin, if you have a chiral object, it means na may reflection yan sa mirror. Okay? So yan. So as you can see, imagine may mirror ako sa gitna. Okay? Hindi pa rin ako nakakabili ng salamin. I don't use it kasi. So imagine may mirror dito sa gitna. If I show my hand in front of the mirror, the image will be reflected as this, no? Magtatapat yung thumb, index, middle, ring, and the pinky. Okay? So magtatapat sila. Okay? So, ano yung tawag natin? If you have a chiral molecule and you have its mirror image, ang tawag doon? Enantiomer. Okay? So, yun yung keyword natin. Pag ang molecule ay chiral, and then meron siyang image, mirror image, itong molecule na to, yung mirror image, that is the enantiomer of the original molecule. Enantiomer, meaning, yan ay mirror image ng original. Okay? What's unique with enantiomer also is that when you superimpose them, ang daming terms kasi, no? Ano meaning ng superimpose? When you place them on top of each other, hindi sila magba-match. Okay? For example, these are my, this is my hand, this is the mirror image. If you superimpose them, meaning, pagtapatin mo sila like that, hindi sila magtatapat, no? All the fingers will not match, no? Maybe except for the middle finger, no? Mag-match sila, but the others, hindi. So, dito magma-match si pinky pati si thumb. Dito si index pati si ring. Ito, parehas middle to. This one is index and ring, and then this one's thumb and pinky as well. Okay? So, yun yung, non-superimposable na sinasabi natin. When you, pag pinagpatong mo sila and then hindi sila nag-match, that means they are non-superimposable, confirming that they are enantiomers indeed. Okay? So, suppose I have this molecule, okay? Suppose I have this molecule, yung blue nasa harap, yung green pointing to me, and then the red one is pointing upwards. Hydrogen nasa kamay ko. If you imagine you have a mirror here, ano yung may itsura ng molecule? Of course, if you have a mirror, the blue one must be in front also. The green atom will be at the back. The red one will still be on top, and the white must be on the far right side. Okay? So basically, ito yun. So this is the mirror image. Blues, yung dalawang blue, pare silang pointing towards you. Yung green, pares pointing towards me. The red one, they are both pointing upwards, and the white ones, they are on the far left and right side of your screen. Okay? So, yan yung mirror image na. Okay? Now, meaning, if this is a chiral molecule, this is the enantiomer. How will you confirm if this is the enantiomer? You superimpose them. Pagbatungin mo sila, if they do not match, then they are indeed enantiomers. Pagpapatungin ko sila, so basically, yan. So pagpapatungin ko yung blue and then yung red. So as you can see, yung blue, they both match. Yung red, they both match as well. However, pag tinignan mo yung likod, the white and the green atoms do not match. Okay? And di sila nagma-match. That means, this is indeed an enantiomer of this. Okay? So yun yung characteristic of our enantiomer. They are a mirror image of a chiral carbon, and at the same time, they are not superimposable. Meaning, pag pinagpatong, hindi magmamatch yung atoms. Okay? Yes, Kyla. Kapag may clarification, kaya let me know lang, ha? So, review naman tayo today. Rodora X. Di kasi ako nanonood eh. Alam mo yung mga pinapanood ko eh. Alam mo yung mga kakornihan ng GMA. Ika-anim na utos. Ayan. Nag-enjoy ako dyan. So, yung chirals po, enantiomers din po sila. Okay? Not all chiral molecules are enantiomer of each other. Kaya, di ba on the last part of the video, may tinawag akong diastereomer. Okay. Ano meaning nun? Pag chiral molecule kasi, and enantiomer sila, they should be mirror image. Yun yung first requirement. It is a carbon that is chiral, and at the same time, it is a mirror image. Okay? So, yun yung dalawang requirement para maging enantiomer. Mirror image, and at the same time, they are non-superimposable. Ayan, so basically, tama yung idea. So, all enantiomers are chiral, yes. But not all chiral are enantiomers, yes. No? Okay? Kasi, there will be molecules na hindi sila mirror image and hindi rin sila superimposable. Yun ay yung tinatawag nating diastereomer. Okay? Later, magbigay pa ako more example on that. No? Minadali ko lang yung part na yun kasi hindi naman siya included sa exam natin. Pero just to give you a hint, no? Kasi baka mamaya magtaka kayo, sir, kung yung mirror and then non-superimposable, enantiomers. Paano if they are not superimposable and not mirror image? Diastereomer tawag natin doon. Okay? Pero again, wag nyo na masyado problemahin yung diastereomer. Kasi I will not include it in the quiz. No? But there is a diastereomer. Okay? So, basically speaking, okay? So, ito yung siguro isusulat nyo sa review notes nyo. So, for you to remember it, enantiomer and diastereomer, may chiral carbon sila. Meron ba silang mirror? And sila ba ay superimposable? Meaning, napagpapatong ba sila? So, for enantiomer, that is chiral, mirror, and not superimposable. Okay? Pero kapag diastereomer yan, chiral, hindi sila mirror, hindi rin sila superimposable. Okay? So, ganun lang. Okay? So, yun. Kapag ang lang nila, common lang sa kanilang dalawa is chiral lang sila, then most likely they are diastereomer. However, if they are mirror images, then probably that is an enantiomer. Okay? Kailan nagkakaroon ng diastereomer? Okay. So, diastereomer exists when you have multiple stereocenter. Okay? Kapag dalawa na yung stereocenter mo, dun lang siya nag-exist. So, that's why sabi ko nga, we will not focus on it that much. Okay? So, yan. It only exists when you have more than one stereocenter. Ang enantiomer, this usually happens kapag may one or more. Okay? So, yun. Ito, hindi siya pwedeng isa yung chiral carbon lang. It must always be more than one. Ang enantiomer, pwede siyang one, pwedeng more. Okay? So, yan. Yun yung big difference nila. Diastereomers will occur if you have two or more chiral carbon. Pero kapag one and more, it could probably fall into the enantiomer category. Okay? So, yun. So, basically, yun yung idea natin. Chiral carbons are carbons with 4 different groups. If you place it in front of the mirror, this will be the image. Okay? And when you superimpose those images, hindi sila lahat magma-match, meaning they are non-superimposable. Okay? Such as the green and the white ones here. Okay? So, yan. If they do not superimpose on top of each other, then that means they are enantiomer. Mirror and non-superimposable. Yun yung requirement natin. Okay? So, let's have some practice assessment. Okay? Sasagutan ko natin, yung mga nandito, swerte kayo kasi sasagutan natin yung isang practice quiz. Let's try to answer this practice quiz na chirality. Okay? So, kung na-try nyo na to, then that's good, no? Pero kung hindi nyo pa natatry, siguro you can join me na. Okay. Chat na lang kayo sa chat box natin. So, I highly suggest you to take this first, no? Itong chirality before the other practice quiz. Quiz siya in a sense na multiple choice yung format niya. Okay? So, ayun, chirality. I want you to take this first before the multiple choice practice quiz, okay? So, on the part 1 of this practice quiz, nakalagay dyan, determine if the molecule is chiral. The molecules are chiral or not. Meaning, meron ba dyang carbon that contains multiple groups, no? Iba-iba yung groups nila. So, here, we started with a difficult molecule, no? Okay, so we have the trans 1,2-dimethyl cyclohexane. Siguro let me copy it on the whiteboard, no? So unlike Zoom, no, I cannot make annotations on screen sa Teams. Okay. So yan. So this is the first molecule that is in your chirality practice quiz. Ano tip ko dito? Okay, the common tip is that whenever you see solid wedge and dashed wedges, most probably they are chiral. Okay? So whenever you see solid and dashed wedges, most probably they are chiral. O, yun yung tip ko. Bakit hindi ko sinabing all? Okay. But sinabi ko most probably. Yung kapag dash, yun yung nasa likod ng screen. Okay? Kapag solid is pointing towards you. Okay? So, yung kapag ito, solid, ibig sabihin nakatutok sa'yo, nakapag ganun yan. Kapag dash, nasa likod ng monitor niya. Okay? So, yun. So, for this molecule here, ito yung solid, ito yung dashed kasi nasa likod siya. Solid to, nasa harap, pointing to you. This is dashed kasi pointing away from you. Okay. So, yun. So, again, ang common shortcut dito is that whenever you see solid and dashed wedges, solid pointing to you, dashed pointing away from you, most probably, it is a chiral carbon. Ba't hindi ko sinabing all? Okay, ba't sinabi ko most probably? Kasi, there is an item in the quiz na tricky siya. Pinakita ko siya as solid and dashed, pero hindi pala siya chiral carbon. So, yan. Alamin nyo na lang kung anong item sa practice quiz yan. Bandang kalagitnaan ata. Okay. So, yun. Not all, no? Okay, kasi baka mamaya tricky lang. Okay. Katulad ng nasa practice quiz nyo. Okay. So, yan. But in my examples today, they will be all chiral. Okay. So, yan. So, we have here the trans 1,2-dimethyl cyclohexane. Okay? So, trans siya in a sense na this one is upwards, this one is downwards. So, trans yun pag ganun. They are not on the same side. Okay? So, now, sabi ko, most probably, if you have solid and dashed wedges, they are chiral. Okay? So, let's check. Let's confirm if this carbon is chiral or if this if this carbon is also chiral. Okay? So, paano mo malalaman? No? So, if you have a ring molecule, basically, you have to look to the atom next to the carbon, the chiral carbon, okay? To the suspected chiral carbon. So, ano yan? So, itong atom yan, this atom, and this atom. Okay? So, ganun. You look to the carbons that are next to the chiral carbon. Okay? If that is a cyclic molecule. Then, after that, I want you to check saan sila nakabond. Okay? You must know to which atoms is this carbon attached, to which atoms is this carbon attached, and to which atom is this carbon attached as well. Okay? So for this carbon here, saan siya naka-attach? Only to hydrogens, di ba? Okay. So as you know, kapag gumagawa tayo ng Lewis structure, pag yan ay nasa dulo, terminus, no? Usually hydrogen lang yung nakakabit sa kanya. How many hydrogen? Okay? So sabi natin, carbon usually forms 4 bonds. Okay? So ilan bonds na meron yung carbon natin? Isa. So meaning, how about the other 3? Pag hindi pinakita dyan yung atoms, most probably they are bonded to hydrogen. Okay? It is bonded to hydrogen. So ilang hydrogen yung nakakonekta sa carbon na to? If that is a terminus, no? Yun ay 3 hydrogens. So this carbon is bonded to 3 hydrogens. Okay? Ito kailangan nyo ma-master nyo to. Okay? Kasi once we proceed with the next chapter, tuloy-tuloy na yan. Okay? That's why we also allotted 3 weeks for this chapter, no? Kasi it is very essential. No? So, yan. So, this is a carbon that is connected to 3 hydrogens. How about this one? So, how will we interpret this, no? So, saan to naka-connect, no? Of course, excluding this, no? So, it is connected to 2 carbons. So, excluding that, so isa lang isusulat ko. And ano pa? What else yung naka-connect dito sa carbon na to? Of course, that will be hydrogen, right? But how many hydrogen? How many hydrogen for this carbon? It will be 2. Yes, tama. No. So, yan. So, dalawang hydrogen ang connected to this carbon primarily because may dalawang bonds na siya. It already contains 2 bonds. Meaning, the other 2 bonds is dedicated. They are dedicated to hydrogen. Okay? Ang gana pala ng setup natin. No? Yung review natin umagang-umaga. Nakakaantok. Okay? So, yan. Basta ganun. So, and it has 2 bonds already. Meaning, the other 2 bonds, hydrogen. Kaaga-aga nagre-review. Kaya mo na. Para naman mataas din sa finals. Okay? Lastly, this carbon here. Tingin tayo dito sa carbon na to. To which atoms is this carbon connected? Saan siya connected? So, nakikita mo, it has 3 bonds, no? 3 yung bond niya. This connected to the chiral carbon, suspected chiral carbon. This connected to this one, and this connected to that one. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, it is bonded to 3 carbons already. Of course, we will exclude this. So, ang ililista ko lang ay 2 C. Exclude ko yan, ha? Okay? So, yan. So, if may dalawang carbon na yan, tatlong bonds na yan, di ba? Saan mapupunta yung isang sobrang bond na? Yung isang missing na bond, that is bond to hydrogen. Okay? As long as it is not shown, then that means it is a bond to hydrogen. So basically, this carbon is connected to 3 hydrogens. This carbon is connected to 1 carbon again and 2 hydrogens. And lastly, this carbon is connected to 2 carbons, 1, 2, and hydrogen, which is not shown. Okay? So, mapapansin mo that the group of atoms connected to this chiral carbon, yung red, ay iba-iba. Okay? Tatlong hydrogen, isang carbon, dalawang hydrogen, dalawang carbon, isang hydrogen. So they are indeed very different from one another. Okay? And of course, itong carbon na to, may hydrogen yan sa likod. Okay? May hydrogen yan. Hindi lang pinapakita. Okay? The chiral carbon itself is connected to a hydrogen. So those are the 4 different groups now. This one is different than this one, then this one, and then this one. So eventually, if that's the case, then that means the carbon is indeed chiral. Okay, so only good kids will see the hydrogen. Very vital yan, no? In studying orgchem, no? Whenever you see lines, kailangan automatic yung number of hydrogens. So that is the one of the requirements in studying orgchem. No? So you have 3 weeks naman until Sunday. Until Saturday to master it. No? So if hindi nyo pa master, that's fine. But I highly suggest na that you find time to practice on this. Total, we have so much practice materials na. Given na yung quiz natin ay 20 items lang. Okay? So yun lang. So yan. So the chiral carbon is bonded to 4 different groups of atom. You have hydrogen, 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 hydrogen to this carbon. Ito iba din, ito iba din. So yeah, this means that this is chiral carbon. Okay? So I will not do the same for this one kasi tagal nang inubos na oras. So basically ganun din naman yan, okay? So you just flip it upside down, okay? So yan. How will you draw the mirror image of this one? Okay? Sige. This is your challenge. Okay? So, alam natin chiral sila eh. But how will you draw the mirror image of this one? How will you draw its enantiomer? So, of course, just as I said, imagine that there is a mirror here. Sira yung mirror natin. Ayan. So imagine there is a mirror here. What do you think will the reflection look like? Of course, syempre may hexagon pa rin. So still you have a hexagon. And just as yung ginawa ko kanina in our molecular models, if it is pointing towards you, then the reflection will show a bond that is pointing towards you as well. Okay? This is pointing towards you, then ito ay pointing towards you as well. So ano yan? So if this is pointing towards me, okay, as the viewer, meaning yung reflection niya, it must be pointing towards me as well. Okay, it must be pointing towards me as well. Ayan. So it is pointing towards me. Ayan, basta gets nyo na yan. Okay. About this one, if it is pointing away from you, then most probably in the reflection, it is also pointing away from you. Just like my previous example, okay. O yung green, it is pointing away from your screen. That means in the mirror image, it will also point away from you. Okay? So yan. So let us draw that. Okay? Para siyang Wi-Fi lang. Okay? So yan, that is the enantiomer of this molecule. Okay? Pero, what if yung nasa quiz is hindi siya exactly mirror image yung naka-show? Okay. What if hindi ganun yung nasa quiz natin? Yung makikita mo lahat ng substituent, nasa right pa rin. How will you do that? Okay. So that's why I said that this topic requires visual reasoning. Okay. Abstract reasoning. Kasi, if that's the case, no, kunwari sa choices nyo sa mismong quiz, all the substituents are on the right side. If you flip mo yung reflection mo, okay, you will flip this mirror image so you can point your substituents to the right. So meaning, we have to rotate this by 180 degrees. Okay. So what will happen if you rotate it by 180 degrees? You flip the molecule. Ito nasa harap, di ba? Okay. Pag nirotate mo yan by 180 degrees, ano mangyayari? It will now be pointing at the back. Okay? Nasa likod na siya. Hala, convincing ba yan? Totoo ba yan, sir? Tignan niya ha. So this is, hanap akong better example. Ito na lang. Listahan ng utang ko. Ayan. Yung mga utang ko sa bangko. Anyway, so suppose that this circle here is pointing towards you. If I flip it by 180 degrees, asa na siya? Hindi, nasa likod na. Okay? So, ganun yung nangyayari. When you flip the molecule, whatever is pointing towards you will be now pointing away from you. And whatever is pointing away from you will now be pointing towards you. Magbabaliktad yung kanilang positions. That is only true if you invert your image horizontally by 180 degrees. Okay? So, hindi nyo pala makita. So, kunwari, ito yung plane ng molecule. The green one is pointing towards you. When I flip the molecule, it is now pointing away from you. Nasa likod na siya. Okay? So, ganun. Okay? So, it is now pointing, this one's pointing away from you when you flip it by 180 degrees horizontally. So, this one naman, what will happen here? So, originally, it is pointing away from you. When you flip it by 180 degrees, it will now be pointing towards you. Okay? So again, kapag multiple choice yan, tinanong, asan yung enantiomer? Okay? Asan yung enantiomer? Most likely, ganito yung mangyayari sa quiz eh. Puro nasa right side yung mga substituents na. Okay? Kumari, ayan na. 4 na choices. Hala. Of course, hindi ito yung sagot. Same lang yan, no? Same lang yan. Paano mo malalaman yung correct answer among these 4 choices, no? So basically, you really need to draw, okay? By the way, since kailangan talaga mag-drawing dito, we may allot more time for the quiz, no? So hindi na siya 45 minutes siguro. Maybe 1 hour. Okay? Kasi mag-drawing talaga kayo eh. Okay? So yan. So if you flip mo siya by 180, so this will be pointing away. This will be pointing towards. No? So this is the correct answer. Letter C. Okay? So yan. How about this two? How about this two? Ano sila? Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na diastereomer. Okay? They contain chiral carbons. Okay? More than one dapat. Okay? So they are chiral carbons, but they are not mirror images. Okay? So this one's the only mirror image. So meaning ito yung enantiomer. And itong dalawa, ito yung mga diastereomer nito. Okay? When you say diastereomer, it is not a mirror image, no? Meaning they are not superimposable as well. Ang common lang sa kanila is that they have more than one chiral carbon. Okay? But again, just as I said earlier, our focus will just be the enantiomers only. Okay? So kapag hindi sila enantiomer, tawag doon diastereomer. Okay? So ito, this is just the same. Kasi obvious naman eh. Same lang yan. It's pointing up towards you, this is pointing away. Sige lang, okay lang, ask questions lang. Find the imposter. Sige, if you have questions, sabihin nyo na. Kasi, I will tell you that when I studied this, nahirapan din ako at first, no? Kasi 3D eh. Why po siya naging chiral if di po 4 na magkakaibang molecules ang nakabond? Yung ito, bakit sila naging chiral? So they are 4 different group of atoms pa rin. Hindi naman necessarily 4 different atoms. Groups of atoms yung sinabi ko kanina. 'Di ba kanina ano ginawa natin? This one is bonded to hydrogen, this carbon is bonded to 3 hydrogens. This carbon is connected to 2 carbon, 1 hydrogen. This carbon is connected to 1 carbon, 2 hydrogens. So, although hindi sila iba-ibang molecules, no, or hindi sila iba-ibang group of iba-ibang atoms, yung connections nila, ayun, magkakaiba eh. So, chiral sila kasi yung dinudugtungan nila, magkakaiba. Okay. So, this one is just hydrogen. This one's carbon connected to these atoms. This one is carbon, but they are connected to different group of atoms. This one's carbon as well, pero connected siya to different group of atoms. So, yan. So, it is important that kapag usapang chirality, tignan mo yung next sa next. Okay, ganun. Tignan mo yung kasunod ng kasunod. Okay, so yun. Ayan. Kasi yung kasunod ng kasunod, yun yung magiging tiebreaker if there are tiebreakers. No? Okay. So, yan. Okay, so yun lang. And so basically, that's the answer. So ano sagot natin? That is, of course, chiral. Okay? So dalawa lang naman choices, chiral, achiral. So sagot natin will be chiral. About this one. This is 3-bromo 2,4-dimethylpentane. Let me copy this. Ay, nakatabingi talaga. Does this molecule have a chiral center? Yun yung first question ko. Ang molecule ba na ito ay may chiral center? Meron o wala? Kasi kapag wala, achiral yan. Pag meron, chiral yan. Okay, so sige. Meron ba siyang chiral carbon? So, tignan nyo muna. No? Okay lang magkamali kasi practice quiz naman to. Si Louis sabi wala po. How about the others? Si Marion sabi meron po. Okay. Yung iba. Kasi yung iba nag-iisip pa rin. Okay. So anyway, so ang sagot dito is wala siyang chiral center. Paano yung nangyari, sir? Ganito. There are 3 suspected chiral carbons. Ano yung mga tatlong yun? Yung suspected pa lang. So ito, suspected natin yan. Ito din, pati ito. Yan yung tatlong suspected chiral carbon. Meaning di natin sure kung chiral ba talaga sila. Okay? So let's begin with this thing here. Ito. Let's begin with that one. So, in order for you to tell if this is a chiral carbon, tignan mo yung mga nasa tabi niya. Ano ba yung nasa tabi niya? You have the methyl, you have the methyl, may hydrogen yan sa likod, and then this group of atom here. So, ano yung requirement, no? In order for that carbon to be chiral, there must be no repetitive group of atoms connected to it. No? Apparently, this carbon contains a repetitive group, which is the methyl. Tara siya may methyl. So, meaning, X na agad, di na siya agad chiral. Kasi may repetitive eh. The methyl and the methyl. Okay? Ayan. Okay lang, at least as early as now, nare-recall na kayo. Okay? So, yan. So, this carbon is also not chiral due to the presence of both methyl groups. Ito, last one. Ano yung connections ng carbon na to? Of course, tatlo yung bond, meaning one of the bond will be the hydrogen. The bond to the hydrogen. So, as you can see, this carbon is connected to hydrogen. This is Br. This thing here and this thing here. As you can see, no, same lang to. Okay? Para sila naka-letter V. So, since they are just the same, then that means this carbon is not also chiral. So, meaning that for this molecule, it is symmetrical. Okay? Symmetrical to a sense na wala kang makitang chiral carbon. Okay? So, same yun nasa left and nasa right. No? Okay. Kapag symmetrical, hindi po siya chiral. Tama yan. Tingnan mo. Same lang ito dito. So, hindi siya chiral. Okay? So, this is a chiral. No? Kasi this molecule is symmetrical. Yan. Glycine, one of the amino acid na fast question. Is this chiral or achiral? Okay. So, ganito. Pag may nakita kayong double bond sa carbon, hindi na siya qualified agad. Pag may isang chiral po, chiral na agad yung sagot. Yes na. Basta may isa kang makitang chirality center. Chiral na yan agad. Okay? So, ganun. Actually, this is your advantage, no? Na naalaman nyo siya agad at this point. Kasi sa biochem, ituturo ulit. Okay, so yan. Dati kasi, nung last year, hindi namin to tinuro. Kasi, during the months of November, October, November, yung bagyo, Typhoon Bamko, grabe yun. Kasi hindi ako nakatulog nun. Grabe lakas ng hangin. Like, yung bintana ako dito, parang hihilahin ng hangin. Ayan. So, yun. So, hindi namin siya na-include sa students last year. So, medyo nahirapan sila sa chiral nung nag-biochem na sila. Pero for now, wala namang bagyo. Salamat sa Diyos. Ayan, naturo natin. Okay. So, yes, double bonds. Pag may double bonds, din agad siya chiral. Bakit na? So one of the requirements for your carbon to be chiral is that it must be sp3 hybridized. Meaning na sp3 puro single bonds lang. Okay. Pag sp2 yan may double bond. Pag sp triple bond. So as much as possible we want our carbon to be sp3 hybridized na. Okay? So ibig sabihin this carbon will fail. Hindi na siya pasok kasi it contains double bond to oxygen. So, X na yan. So, that will leave us with this thing. Okay? Yung nitrogen, pwede po ba yan, sir, maging chiral or ano? Pwede rin ba yan maging chiral? Yes, no? Pero, automatically, rejected agad to. Rejected agad to kasi dalawang hydrogen agad katabi niya. Okay? So, yun. So that is not chiral. So again, hindi lang carbon yung nagiging chiral. Minsan silicon din, minsan nitrogen that is quaternary. No? There are nitrogens that are quaternary. Meaning ng quaternary, apat yung bonds. Medyo nangangasimsik mura ako. Kaya digay ako ng digay. Ayan, so anyway, so this leaves us with this carbon. No? This will be our decision maker no? if the molecule is chiral or not. Obviously, that carbon is connected to two bonds. Ano yung bonds na yon? That is, ito, bond to nitrogen and bond to carbon. So, meaning, the other two bonds ay same lang. They are both bond to hydrogens. So, as you can see, we cannot see any chiral carbon. So, meaning the molecule is indeed achiral. Okay? That gives us this molecule being achiral. Ayan. O, yung iba, kayo na bahala magsagot ha. Dalawa na lang naman. Okay. Now, ito naman. For the second part of this chirality practice quiz, it will ask you how many chiral centers does the molecule shown here contain. Okay, so yan, kunwari ganyan. Pag ganyan, wag na kayong dalawang isip agad. So just as I said earlier, my shortcut is that whenever you have solid or dashed wedges, that probably means na the molecule is chiral. Okay, so yan. So how many chiral carbons do we have here? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Apat agad. Okay? But do not be deceived, no? Kasi meron tayo dun sa practice quiz na may solid and dashed wedges siya. Pero same lang pala yun. Same lang yung atoms na yun. Okay? So makikita nyo na lang dun. Isang item lang naman. Okay? So anyway, but the shortcut is that mostly for those who are in solid and dashed wedges, they are kind of automatically chiral agad. Okay? So yan. Yan. So basta may ganyan, chiral agad. Okay? So let's see. Bakit siya naging chiral? Sir, is a chiral po ba superimposable? Teka lang. Oo nga no. Baka may ganyan kayong question. Sige. Let's check na. If you have a molecule that is a chiral, for example, this one, if you get its mirror images and pinagpatong mo sila, they are indeed superimposable. Yes, tama. Okay. Kasi kapag chiral, doon na sila nagiging non-superimposable. Yeah. So, tama. Hindi ko naisip yung ganyan, no? Sige, lalagay natin sa quiz yan. Joke lang. So, mostly for a chiral, they are superimposable kasi they are the same lang. Okay? Same sila ng connections everywhere else. So, yun. Superimposable. Okay? So again, the shortcut here is that mostly if you have solid and dashed wedges, then probably the molecule or that carbon containing the solid and dashed wedges are chiral. Okay? So, yan. So, alamin natin ba't sila naging chiral. Ito, bakit siya naging chiral? Again, tatlo yung bonds, meaning yung isa bond to hydrogen. Super impossible. Kaya sa video pa ulit-ulit ako sa super impossible Para para check nyo yung spelling kung tama. So let's rationalize why this carbon is indeed chiral. Okay? So of course, may tatlong bonds yan. So meaning one of the bonds will be dedicated to hydrogen, which is not shown. On the left side, you have your aldehyde. On this side, you have your alcohol. And on the right side, you have this huge group of atoms. Okay, so you have this huge group of atoms. And as you can see, they are for uh, not equivalent sila, no? So they are very different from one another. So that means it is true that this carbon is indeed chiral. Iba ito sa ito, iba ito dito, iba ito dito, at syempre pareha sila, iba-iba sila to hydrogen. Okay. So yun. So that confirms that this is indeed chiral. How about this one? So this one is chiral as well. Chiral yan. So you have 3 bonds, 2 carbons. This carbon contains 3 bonds already. So ibig sabihin, one of it will be dedicated to just the hydrogen. And then this carbon is connected to hydrogen, the OH, this group of atom, and this group of atom. So you can see OH and H very different. This thing here is different to the thing on the right. So yeah, this carbon is indeed chiral. Chiral siya. So medyo hahabaan namin yung time sa quiz, ha. Ayan. Pero still practice na. Kasi puro molecules talaga yung lalabas na. So yan. So this carbon, is this chiral or achiral? Let's see. It has 3 bonds, so meaning may isang bond to hydrogen, which is not shown. And then you have this thing here on the left, this thing here sa baba, and this thing here on the right. So ito, this is different with this one, this one's different with this one, and they are all different from each other. So this carbon is indeed chiral. And then lastly, you have this thing here. Oops, ano nangyari? Hindi siya nabura. Lastly, you have this carbon here. This is indeed chiral as well. So tatlong bonds, meaning one of the bonds will be dedicated to hydrogen. So you have the methyl here, the OH here, and all this group of atoms on the right side. So this one's different with this one. This one is different to the methyl. Methyl is different to the hydrogen. These 3 different sila from one another. No? So, yan. So it is indeed chiral. Okay? So, natin dyan. Sagot natin dyan will be 4. Okay? So again, shortcut is, ano yung shortcut? Kapag may solid and dashed wedges, most probably it is chiral. But, you have to double check. Okay? Kasi again, just as I said, sa quiz ninyo, sa practice quiz, there's an item that is kind of tricky siya. Maski ako na-trick doon kagabi, tinitignan ko siya. Sabi ko, mali ba yung test bank? Pagkatingin ko, ayaw nga. Hindi ko tinignan yung molecule kasi. So yan, you have to double check always. Ito, probably this will be the last item na sagutan ko for determination of chirality, and then yung next activities natin will be more on the RNS configuration. Okay? Kasi I think nahihirapan din kayo sa RNS kasi ikot-ikot siya. Okay? So compounds count po, diba? Like CH2 not equal to CH. Yes. Basta iba-iba yung kanilang bonds to hydrogen. Or generally, iba-iba yung bonds. We have this molecule here. Okay. And then, isa-isahin natin lahat ng carbon to see if yun ay chiral. Okay? So, I will check all of the carbons here, and let's check kung yan ay chiral. Okay? So, I will start here sa leftmost side. So, obviously, you cannot say na ito ay chiral. Hindi mo sasabing chiral yan. Kasi puro hydrogens na nakadugtong sa kanya. Okay? Puro hydrogens na nakadugtong sa kanya. Ay, wala lang. May nag-notif lang. Okay. Yan. So, yung mga terminal carbons, they cannot be the chiral carbon because puro hydrogen na nakabond sa kanila. How about this one here? Is this chiral? Is this chiral? No. This is not chiral because of the same methyl group. No? This is CH3. This is another CH3. So, meaning this carbon is not chiral. Okay. How about this thing? Is this chiral or not? No din po. Bakit hindi siya chiral? Because, again, one of the requirement for a carbon, no, para siya ay maging chiral is that it is sp3 dapat. No? Meaning, puro single bond. If your carbon contains double bond, triple bond, then lagapak na siya agad. Na. So, yan. So, this is sp2 and hindi qualified sila for the chirality. So, this one's X. X din yan. How about this thing here? Chiral ba to? Key here is that you... Ayan, no. No din po. Yes, tama. Bakit? Kasi the carbon is connected to two hydrogens. Yes. Ayan. One of the important key again for an organic chem student is to see the hydrogens that are not implied. Okay. Kailangan nakikita nyo yung hydrogens na wala dyan. So, this is not chiral carbon. So, meaning, ito rin, hindi siya chiral carbon. Kasi, dalawang bonds to hydrogen meron yan. Same thing as this one. Okay? So, wala din yan. This one's wala din. Okay. Obviously, this one isn't a chiral carbon. Sabi ko nga, may double bond. This carbon here, hindi rin siya chiral. Kasi, dalawang bond to hydrogen. And then, itong carbons dito, they are not all chiral. Kasi sp2 hybridized yan. Because of the double bond. Ito may double bond, ito may double bond, ito may double bond. Okay. And then, itong carbon na to, obviously, hindi rin siya chiral. So, may chiral carbon ba tayo? Wala. So, wala tayong chiral carbon. So, yun. Wala tayong chiral carbon. Meaning, wala tayong chiral molecule for this. This is not a chiral molecule. Okay? So, ano sasagot niya dito? Ready? 0. Yan. And for the others, ito, sabi ko nga sa inyo, solid and dashed wedges, ano lang siya, pag solid and dashed wedges, most probably that is chiral. Okay? So, yeah. So, yung iba, kayo na bahala. Siguro ito na lang last one. Glutathione. Okay. Pampaputi ng skin. Gluta. Kayo lang. Based on your own judgment, sasabihin ko yung sagot. Dalawa yung chiral carbon dyan. Alamin nyo kung ano. Sige. So, alamin nyo kung ano yung dalawang yan. Okay? Wala kasi tayong annotate screen sa Teams. Pag nag-zoom naman tayo, mauubos yung ano mo, yung data. So, may dalawang chiral carbon dyan. Alin yan? Second and yung 7. So, starting from left na. So, sige. So, ito daw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? So, tignan natin kung sila ba yung dalawang chiral carbon that I am pertaining to. So, again, start tayo left to right. Okay? So, left to right tayo. Tignan natin lahat ng carbon and let's rationalize, no? Bakit siya chiral or not? Okay? So, beginning here, this one's not chiral, obviously, because of the double bond. This one is chiral. Yeah, you are correct. This one's chiral. Why? Kasi, again, di mo nakikita yung hydrogen, ilabas mo. Yan. So, this one is connected to 4 different group of atoms. You have the hydrogen, the amine, the carboxylic acid, and all this thing on the right. As you can see, magkakaiba. Ito, at to. So, chiral siya. So, yun. So, tama kayo dun. This one is not chiral. Kasi dalawa yung bond niya to hydrogen. Same thing as this one. This one contains double bonds, so hindi siya pwede. Hindi siya qualified. Ito, nitrogen. Gusto natin yung carbon lang. So, ito, this is also chiral. Why? Tama. This is chiral. Tama. Why? Kasi this is bonded to hydrogen, which is not shown. This methyl, tas may SH dyan. This is methionine. Methionine ba ito? Yeah, ata. Kalimutan ko na tuloy agad yung amino acids. And then you have this thing here on the right, which is obviously very different with the thing on the left. Okay. Magkaiba yan, no? This one's shorter than this one. So, iba to. So, indeed, that carbon is chiral. Okay? So, that is a chiral carbon. So, at first, very intimidating, no? Pero, pag na-gets mo na, madali na lang. So, ito may double bond, so hindi siya qualified. This one has 2 bonds to hydrogen, so also not qualified. And then, this thing here, double bond, so not qualified. So, overall, we just have 2 chiral carbons. 1, 2. So, type mo dyan. 2. Then, yung iba kayo na bahala. Okay? So, kayo na bahala sa iba. Now, ano yung gagawin na natin? Siguro for the last part ng gagawin natin today. Kasi, ano yan? Yung RNS. Okay. So, I'll close that na lang. Pag may question kayo, let me know, ha? Siguro I'll send this video din to other classes. Baka magtampo sila. Okay. Enantiomer to molecules that are mirror image, not superimposable, therefore not identical. Okay. So, ayan. And designating RNS configuration. So just as I said, no, in designating the RNS configuration, you just need to determine the priority number of the group of atoms connected to the carbon. Priority number is analogous with the atomic mass. Okay, so the heavier the mass of that group of atom, the higher its priority will be. Okay, so that's one of the important things that you have to know. In designating RNS, again, you should be able to determine their priority numbers. Okay, so the heavier the atom, usually that's the highest priority. And of course, the least priority will be your hydrogen because it is the lightest element. Okay. Yan. So, for example, ito. This thing here, okay. Ano kaya yung kanyang RNS designation? So, let me copy that sa ating whiteboard. Okay. Okay, so these are two different molecules. And actually, they are enantiomers. Okay, so anyway, ayan. So, it is obvious that the carbons, ito, and ito, they are chiral. Okay. They are obvious, no? Kasi nga sabi ko, basta may solid dash wedges, most probably, chiral yan. Okay? So, in our case, yes, this is a chiral carbon kasi iba yung mga bonds niya. So, bond to hydrogen, which is not shown, bond to Cl, bond to methyl, and this one is ethyl. Okay? This is methyl, this is ethyl, which is obviously different from one another. Okay? So, yan. So, I want to show my hydrogen. Okay? So, kung ito, this is solid, pointing towards us yung Cl, then most probably yung hydrogen nasa likod. Okay? So, you have to show it first. Okay? So, now, given na shinow mo na yung group of atoms bonded to the carbon here, you will now assign the priority numbers. When assigning the priority numbers, again, just as I said, pabigatan sila. Okay? Pabigatan sila ng atom na nakadugtong. Okay? So, of all the atoms here, sino yung pinakamabigat? Edi obviously, that will be your, that will be your Cl. This is the heaviest atom in the molecule. So this will be your priority number 1. The hydrogen, just as I said kanina, this is your least priority kasi it is the lightest element. Okay? So this will be your priority number 4. And now, sino dito yung 2? Sino yung 3? Hindi natin sure. Sino dito yung priority 2? Sino yung priority 3? Okay? Kunwari, na-stuck ka na sa ganyang question. Okay? Na-identify mo na yung first priority. Paano yung second, third priority? Okay? So, just like what we did kanina, okay? You have to check the atoms that are connected to the atom that is connected to the chiral carbon. Okay? Tignan mo yung nakadugtong sa nakadugtong. Ganun. Okay. So ito, this is carbon connected to the chiral carbon. And ano yung mga nakadugtong sa kanya? Ang mga nakadugtong sa kanya is obviously hydrogen, 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 right? Kasi this is a terminal carbon, so that means it has 3 hydrogens. While this carbon here contains what type of bonds to atoms? For a single bond, and at the same time, it is connected to dalawang hydrogen and another bond to carbon. Okay? So, yan. So, ito yung mga connection ng carbon na to. The methyl is all connected to hydrogens, while the ethyl is connected to just 2 hydrogens and another carbon. Sino mas mabigat? 3 hydrogen? 2 hydrogen, 1 carbon. Obviously, yung may carbon uli. So, ito yung mabigat kaysa dito. So, that means, this will be my second priority. This will be my third priority. Okay. Yan. So, the ethyl will bear the second priority. And the methyl will bear the third priority. And obviously, the hydrogen will be the last, as always. Okay? Kawawa naman siya, hindi siya pinaprioritize. So, ngayon, now you determined their priority numbers, you have to redraw the molecule. Okay? So, ito, sinasabi ko to parate, no? You have to redraw the molecule in which numbers lang yung nakashow. Okay? Why? Kasi if ganito yan, although ako, kaya ko yan alamin kung R or S yan. Okay? But for you, para hindi kayo mas malito kasi ang dami nakakonekta, just write the numbers. Okay? So I will redraw this. Okay? But instead of showing the atoms, I will just write the priority numbers. Okay? So ganyan yan. So I just redraw it. Showing the priority numbers of the atoms connected to the carbon. Okay, so Cl pointing towards us, so number 1 is pointing towards us. Ethyl on the left, methyl on the right, and the hydrogen at the back. Okay? So, ayan. Ano gagawin mo? Okay. So, just as I said in the video discussion, you have to determine the rotation of the priority numbers 1, 2, and 3. Ano gagawin mo sa 4? You have to place it at the back. Okay? So, place it at the back. Okay? So, ganun. You need to place the least priority at the back, and then yung 1, 2, 3, you determine their rotation. Okay? So, paano mo malalaman yung rotation? So, basically, ano lang, pagdugtungin mo lang. So, 1, 2, 3. What's the rotation? It is clockwise. Pag ganun yung orasan, di ba? Clockwise siya. If the rotation of priority numbers 1, 2, 3 is clockwise, that means the molecule is R configuration. Kapag clockwise, that is R. Pag counterclockwise, that will be S. And lucky for us, this is clockwise, so this ones are in terms of the configuration. So again, it is very important that you place the least priority at the back, and then yung tatlong priority, 1, 2, 3, alamin mo yung rotations niya. So, paano ko to nagagawa? Very easily. Actually, ang ginagamit ko lang dito is yung aking kamay. So, pakita ko kung paano. So, let me just, asan yung mouse ko? Let me just stop the sharing. Pakita ko how I use my hands. No? Pero okay lang kung hindi mo siya mag-gets kasi it took me a while to get para makuha din, mag-gets din siya. So this is my arm. No? The tatlong daliri lang gagamitin ko. So I will close the other two. Ito, 1, 2, 3. Na? So parang ito yung mga priority numbers ko. 1, 2, 3. And yung arm ko mismo, this is the fourth priority. So the fourth priority, yung arm ko, must be pointed away from me. So igaganon ko yan. So naka-away from me yung arm. Just as what we did sa hydrogen. 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 Na nasa likod siya. Okay? Sa likod siya. So the least priority must be your arm pointing away from you. So ano yung nakatapat sa aking muka? Yung tatlong priorities na to. 1, 2, 3. So, dito sa ating molecule dito, ang number 1 priority ko will be this finger. So, you can actually write numbers into your fingers. So, this will be the first priority, the one pointing upwards. The second priority is this thumb, kasi nasa right yon in terms of our drawing earlier. And then the third priority is this thing on the right, no, the middle finger. So 1, 2, 3, rotate mo. 1, 2, 3, rotate. Anong rotation nangyayari? In my point of view, that is clockwise. Kaya sa board exam namin, nung organic chem, pagdating sa topic na to, nagaganunan na kami sa review sa exam room. Kasi ginaganyan lang namin yan eh. Okay. The least priority will be your arm. Priority numbers 1, 2, 3 are your fingers, and then you just connect them 1, 2, 3. It is clockwise. According to my point of view, it is clockwise. So, ganun. So, ganun ginagawa namin. Pero if hindi nyo siya magigets, then okay lang. Just go back dito sa sinabi ko na to. Kasi ganito rin naman talaga siya tinuturo. Yung kamay-kamay na yun, that is just shortcut. No? Yan. Shortcut siya ng mga BS Chem. So, yan. Again, you point the number 4 away from you. Yun yung arms mo. And then yung tatlong fingers mo, that will be your priorities 1, 2, and 3. 1 sa taas, kasi nasa taas yun doon. 2 on the right, and then yung 3 nasa left. So 1, 2, 3, connect them. 1, 2, 3. Clockwise rotation. Okay. So that's R. Yan. So yun yung kinesthetic learning sa amin. Yan sinasabi kong kinesthetic learning. Other than using models, gumagalaw-galaw din kami. Ayan, so yan. So kayo bahala, no? Kung magigets nyo to, that's fine. That's better actually. Isang tingin mo lang sa molecule, ano mo na yung RNS. Okay. Although, i-judge ko ng ibang tao. Promise. Kasi ginagawa namin to pag nagre-review kami, mga group of friends. Tapos ganun kami ng ganun. Yung ibang tao nakatingin sa amin. Yung proctors. Oo, hindi. Akala ng mga proctors, ginagawa ng mga to. Nagdadayaan ba itong mga to? Ayun. Kasi ganun kami. RNS pala yun. Okay. Usually, ang proctor sa board exam, kunwari nag-ano kayo, kunwari medicine na kayo, di ba, you have your physician licensure exam. Usually, the proctors are not in your field. No? So, kunwari kami, chemist, ang nagbabantay sa amin, usually mga teachers. No? So, hindi nila alam yung ginagawa namin. So, ganun lang kami. Ayan. So, kaya pag nag-boards, ganun din. Hopefully, magka-BS Chem program na uli sa FEU. No? There are plans. No? Pag may nakita na kayong BS Chem program during your stay in FEU na gumaganon, yan, gets nyo na ano yung tinutukoy nila doon. Kay reality yan. Okay, so yan. Let's take a look into some other examples pa. Siguro last 2 na lang. Okay? Kuha pa ka. Ito na lang. Hindi ko to sasagutan lahat. If you want this PowerPoint, maybe I will post this na lang sa Canvas. Additional material din kasi. Itong video, upload ko na rin sa Canvas natin. And kaya nga sinasabi ko, OrChem is indeed the best subject for those who prefer visuals. Pag mas gusto nyo yung mga drawing over calculation. However, in my case, during my undergraduate studies, hindi ko siya favorite. Kasi ayaw ko nagme-memorize. Kasi ginagawa na ng teacher namin, binabasa lang siya. Ngayon wala akong nag-gets. This ngayon, I tried to change that. Kaya ako nagturo. Kasi I don't want that to happen to other people then. So yan. Ako na mismo yung tuturo talaga. Okay. So maybe this one. Kasi dalawa yung chiral carbon niya. Okay. And the dalawang molecule na sagutan ko. So this is one of them. Dalawa yung chiral carbon niya, obviously. Sabi ko nga, pag may solid and dash wedges, most probably it indicates that that carbon is chiral. Such as the ClBr, this group and that group here. Then you have the hydrogen, which is not shown, but must be obvious. Okay, so may hydrogen dyan, the Br, this thing here on the left, and this thing here on the right. Punta muna tayo dito sa left kasi all the atoms are shown. Okay. So this is our carbon. And we need to determine the priority numbers. We need to determine the priority numbers. So obviously, tignan mo kung saan sila nakadugtong. Okay? So this carbon is connected directly to Cl. This carbon is connected to a carbon. Ito naka-connect din siya sa carbon. Ito naka-connect din sa carbon. Yung dashed meaning it is pointing sa likod. Kasi yung Cl nasa harap eh. So meaning this bond here is actually nasa likod siya. Nasa likod siya ng molecule. Yan. So bale, this is the carbon. Ito yung carbon connected to a carbon, 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 and then Cl. So sino mas mabigat sa apat? The carbon, 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 or the Cl? Obviously, Cl. So we will give the Cl the highest priority number, which is 1. So tapos na tayo kay Cl. How about this 3 here? Yung tatlong carbon. Pabigatan uli yan. Pabigatan uli yan. So, ano gagawin natin? So, ang gagawin natin is that, tignan natin saan sila nakadugtong. Okay? Let's check saan sila nakadugtong. So, this carbon is connected to bromine and at the same time hydrogens. Okay? So, connected siya sa bromine and then dalawang hydrogen. Okay? Oops. Maliit na kasi ng picture. So, yan. Ito yung mga nakadugtong sa carbon na to. For this carbon, saan siya nakadugtong? Dalawang hydrogen, isang carbon. H, H, and then another carbon. C. Okay. This one, how about to? Sir, paano yun? Naka-double bond. Hindi naman ako magbibigay ng ganito sa, hindi ako magbibigay ng ganito sa ating exams. Okay. Sa quiz. Pero just to answer this item, okay. So, ganito ginagawa. If that carbon is connected to a double bond, we treat the double bond as two equivalent carbons. Okay, dalawang carbon katumbas pag may double bond dyan. And then of course your Cl. Okay. Again, hindi na ako magbibigay ng ganito kasi itong PowerPoint na to, this is for BS Chem eh. Pang BS Chem talaga yan. However, ayun nga. So if you have a double bond that is connected to this, so you treat that as two carbons. Carbon, carbon. Okay? And then lastly, Cl. So ngayon, pabigatan na sila. Okay? So pabigatan na sila. So sino yung mas mabigat? Okay. So i-add mo yung mga masses niyan. Okay? So bromine, ilan ba si bromine? 79 to 80. Yes. Dalawang C, isang Cl. Dalawang C kasi may double bond na. Pero again, hindi ako magbibigay ng ganito sa quiz natin. Kasi yung PowerPoint na to is for BS Chem. Dalawang C kasi may double bond connected to this very carbon. Okay? So ngayon, anong gagawin mo? Judgment na lang. Pabigatan sila in terms of the mass. Okay? So Br is 80. Dalawang hydrogen. So 1 plus 1. 80 plus 1 plus 1. So ano yung mass nun? 82. So 82 to. Yung bigat ng mga atoms na to. This one, ano yung bigat ng mga atoms na to? Cl is 35. Carbon is 12 plus 12. So ano yun? 35, 12, 12, 24, 35. No, cannot be. Nagkakalkyo ko na. 5 plus 12 plus 12. 59. 59 yung mass nila. So this is one way of determining the priority. Sabi ko nga kanina, pabigatan lang ng mass. Okay. So ito, hydrogen, hydrogen, carbon. So 12 plus 2. Okay. 12 plus 1 plus 1. So 14 yung bigat na ito. Kasi na mabigat, edi obviously, yung BR sa likod. Okay. Kasi ang daming atomic mass niyan eh. 80 to, tas dalawa, so 82. This one, this is 35. Itong dalawa, 24, so 59. So yun. So the second priority will be this 82 here. Okay. So this will be the second priority. Yes, no. So ano mapapansin nyo, ito 89 to, no, overall. Yung mga nakadugtong kay carbon. Bakit first priority pa rin yung CL? Kasi sabi natin, the CL is directly connected to the chiral carbon. While this thing here is not connected directly to the carbon. So naka-extend kasi siya. Ayan, so yan. Ayan, that's good na susundan naman. So this one will be the second priority. Okay. Akala ko, sir, mas mabigat yung CH2 to the right since nakakabit po siya. Hindi, yung yung carbon mismo yung titignan natin. 'Di ba when we determine the priority numbers earlier, ang tinitignan lang natin is yung next to it. Okay. So ayan na. Yung ginawa natin kanina, we just check kung ano yung mga nakadugtong sa carbon. So Cl, H, tatlong hydrogen, then ito. So yung next lang talaga. Not entirely yung isang buong barangay. Yeah, that's totoo yan. Makisipin nyo yan, dami na ito nakalagay. Baka yan, hindi. When determining the priority numbers, yung kasunod lang ng kasunod, not entirely yung buong barangay. So yung kasunod lang ng kasunod. Pabigatan ng kapitbahay. Yes. Okay, so number 2 to. Ito, number 3. Number 3 yan kasi 59 yung masses na nakadugtong sa kanya. And then ito, lastly, ito yung 4. Okay, aburahin ko na. So those are our priority numbers. So again, itong item na to, mahirap talaga to. Don't worry, wala tayong ganito sa quiz. Ito kasing ginagamit ko pag BS Chem. Okay, so again, after identifying the priority numbers, you rewrite it, no? Just the skeleton, okay? Showing the numbers only. Hindi nakasama yung atoms, no? So just the numbers lang. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, ala. 'Di ba sabi ko kanina, kailangan yung 4 nasa likod. Okay. So ibig sabihin, we will need to rotate the molecule in this direction. So you will need to rotate the point of view to that direction. Okay? So what I mean by that, no? Igaganon mo yung molecule. Kunwari, ito yung priority number 4, di ba? Nasa nasa right. Right niya ba to? Anyway, so right. Pag nasa right siya, ikot mo siya pa talikod. So you need to rotate it that way. So kaya nga sabi ko, better if you have models kasi makikita mo yung ikot, yung rotation. Okay? So if I rotate it this way, okay, yung form punta na siya sa likod. No? Maging ganito na yung itsura ng molecule. Okay? Towards to the right yung ikot. So yung 4 mapupunta sa likod nilang lahat. Yung 2 mapupunta dito sa left. Yung 3 mapupunta sa right. And then yung 1 nasa taas. Kita nyo yun? Yung 2, since to the right yung ikot niya, mapupunta siya sa harap. Yung 3 nasa left siya. Pag inikot mo yan, mapupunta siya dito sa right. Yung 4, mapupunta siya sa likod. So yan. So that's why yung 4 nasa likod, 2 nasa right, 3 nasa left. 2 nasa left, 3 nasa right. Yung 1 nasa taas pa rin siya. Okay? So, medyo masakit to sa ulo. Yan. Don't worry, we will not give you this type of rotations na. Yan, simple rotation lang naman. Okay? So, yan. Si 4 po, laging nasa likod talaga. Yes. Okay? So, you need to rotate the molecule clockwise. Okay? So, kumbaga, let me show it through the model. Okay? Yung white yung aking list priority na. So, originally, ganito yan eh. Okay. Kunwari, ganito na lang. Si red yung number 1. Si 3, ito. Si 2, ito nasa likod. Okay. Ito si 4. So, ikot ko lang, rotate ko lang. So, again, this is 1, yung red. The 2 is itong blue. The 3 is itong nasa right. Ay, sorry. Nasa left nyo ba to? Nalilito ako sa mirror kasi ng Teams. So, ito yung ito yung 3, ito yung 4. Okay? So, yung 4 lalagay ko sa likod. So, ayun. Okay, nakita nyo yan. So, again, this is 3. Mapupunta siya sa right. Yung 2, mapupunta siya sa left. Yung 4, mapupunta sa likod. So, nasa likod na yung 4. So, this is now 1, 2, 3. I-rotate mo na siya. Okay? So, ganun na. So, it is better, again, if you have models with you. Bili na lang kayo styro balls or kahit Christmas balls. Total, Pasko na naman. Pwede na mag-decorate ng Christmas tree. Okay. So, yun. So, let's identify the rotation. So, 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3. Counterclockwise. Meaning, this is S. Okay? So, S yung kanyang absolute configuration. So, the rotation of the priorities are counterclockwise. So, 1, 2, 3. Counterclockwise. So, again, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so, that's counterclockwise. Ayan. So, the rotation, obvious, 1, 2, 3. Counterclockwise. Ayan. So, that's the S. Gamitin Xmas. Ayun for academic purposes naman. Siguro i-judge kayo ng mga magulang nyo. No? Ano ginagawa ng anak ko? Ayan. Ay, nalilito ako dito sa laki kasi ng picture eh. Ayun, so ganun. Ito hindi ko nasagutan to. So, mas madali ito compared sa ginawa natin kanina dito. Ano na lang, pili na lang ako isa pa. Ang complex kasi ng mga molecules na to eh. Last one siguro. Let me look for an easy molecule. Again, hindi ko naman i-complicate yun nasa quizzes na. Even yung reaction sa org chem, hindi ko na complicate yan. Ito na lang. This one's easy. Dalawa yung chiral carbon niya. Okay. Okay, so last one. Okay, before we end our review. Okay, so ayan, anong gagawin natin dito? So of course, dalawa yung chiral carbon yan, just as I said. Ang shortcut is that kapag may wedges, yun ay chiral. Shortcut nga lang. So obviously, this is chiral kasi it is bonded to 4 different groups. OH, methyl, hydrogen, and the rest of the molecule. So it is indeed chiral. Same thing as this one. So this is bonded to hydrogen in the front, the methyl, the ethyl, and the rest of the molecule. So, dalawa yung chiral center natin. Okay? So, ayan. So, ano gagawin natin? Dito muna tayo. So, dito muna tayo. Let's identify its absolute configuration. R ba yan or S? So, just as I said, kapag hindi nakita yung hydrogen, ipakita mo. Since the OH is in front, and yung nasa left and right ay shown, that means the hydrogen is at the back. Okay, hindi siya pinapakita. Now, we identify the heaviest element according to what's next, according to their sequence. Okay. So ito, this is directly connected to oxygen. This is directly connected to a carbon, and this one is connected to a carbon. This one's connected to hydrogen. So obviously, sino mabigat? Is it the oxygen? Is it the hydrogen? The carbon? The carbon? So obviously, it's the oxygen. So oxygen will bear the highest priority number. And just as I said, hydrogen siya yung least priority always. Always nasa likod siya. Or least priority. Now, we are now stuck between two carbons. Okay. So kapag parehas na silang carbon, tignan mo yung nakadugtong sa kanila. What is connected to this carbon? So since this is a terminal carbon, then that means it contains 3 hydrogens. Ayan. So it contains 3 hydrogens. While this one, ano yung nakadugtong sa kanila? Sa kanya. Sige, okay naman. Ano yung atoms that is connected to this carbon? It is, ano? Okay, so ano yung nakadugtong sa kanya? Dalawang carbon, isang hydrogen, yes. Ito, carbon, carbon, then yung hydrogen dito. Okay. So yun yung mga nakadugtong sa kanya. Carbon, carbon, and isang hydrogen. Okay? So ganun. Carbon, carbon, isang hydrogen. Ano, pabigatan sila. Sino mas mabigat? Hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen? Or carbon, carbon, hydrogen? Obviously, ito. Mas mabigat to kaysa dito. So that means this carbon will be our second priority. And obviously, this ones will be the third priority. Okay, so again, yung kapitbahay lang titignan. Okay? Just yung kapitbahay. So yan, we have now the priority numbers. Rewrite mo yan. You can use the arm. Yung pinakita ko kanina, using braso. Ayan. Pero for now, ganito na lang. Okay, nasa likod na yung 4. So basically, kalimutan mo na siya. Just focus on this 3 here. Look at the rotation. 1, 2, 3. That's clockwise, right? So this is clockwise, meaning this one is R. So this is R in configuration kasi clockwise ang kanyang rotation. Okay? So this is R. 1, 2, 3. Clockwise. 1, 2, 3. Clockwise. Okay, so note ko na lang dito. This is R. Don't worry, upload ko na to sa YouTube mamaya. Okay. Para may reviewer din yung iba kong class. Hindi ko kasi sila imi-meet eh. Kasi na-meet ko na sila once. Kayo kasi hindi ko pa kayo na-meet since then. Baka magtampo kayo eh. So anyway, so ayan. So the configuration of this chiral carbon is R. Now, how about this one? So again, this is bond to carbon, 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 and the hydrogen is not shown, so we need to show it. So obviously, since hydrogen yan, just as I said, hydrogens always bear the last priority number. So yung 4 natin nasa harap. So ngayon, ano yung manakadugtong dito sa carbon na to? Puro carbon. So carbon, carbon, carbon. Hindi mo na sila ma-differentiate, di ba? So since parehas carbon, yung nakadugtong dito, ito, carbon yan, carbon to, you need to check yung neighbor nila, okay? So itong carbon, this is connected to oxygen, another carbon, and hydrogen, right? So this is connected to oxygen, another carbon, and the hydrogen, which is not shown. This one naman is connected to 2 hydrogens and 1 carbon. And dalawang hydrogen na nandito and itong carbon na yun na nasa rightmost. This one naman at the bottom is connected to just purely hydrogens. Kasi terminal carbon siya. Ayan na, i-judge mo na siya. Let's judge them. Okay, so the priority numbers will be sino yung highest? Edi ito. Kasi may oxygen dun eh. Okay. So that will be the first priority. Kasi OCH yung kanyang atoms. Ito naman, susunod. CHH. And then this one will be the last. Yung puro HHH. No? Ayan. So again, if you have a tie, for example, carbon yan, carbon to, look at the next atom that is connected to it. Okay. This is connected to oxygen, another carbon, and the hydrogen. This one is connected to 2 hydrogens and 1 carbon on the right. And this one is just connected to hydrogens. Kasi ito sa terminal carbon. So yun yung ating priorities. No? So we need to write the skeleton. Sulat natin skeleton. The 4 is facing in front. The methyl is at the back. Yung 1 andito, yung 2 andon. Okay? Ngayon, ito yung problem. We need to place the last priority sa likod. We need to place it backwards, right? So, that means we need to flip the molecule. Flip mo siya either clockwise or counterclockwise, kay bahala. Okay. So, I will need to flip it this way. Okay. Okay, flip. Again, bakit kailangan ng flip? Kasi yung 4 nasa harap eh. I need to put it at the back. Okay. So, if I flip it, ano mangyayari? Magbabago lang yung numbering natin. Okay. If you flip it by 180 degrees this way, so yung 4 mapupunta na sa likod, right? Yung 3 mapupunta na sa harap. Yung 2, if you flip it by this direction, it will be now on the left. Yung 1, if you flip it by 180 degrees, it will now be in the front. Okay? So to visualize yung nangyari, let's use the models again. 4 yung white. Okay. So 4 yung white, which is pointing towards you. And so 4 yung white. Baka maliit yung screen. Yan. Okay. So ganito yung itsura ng molecule, no? Like this. Okay. Yung white pointing towards you. Yung green, which is yung number 3. Ito yung 4, ito yung 3, yung green, which is pointing to me. Yung 1, itong nasa left, and then yung 2, yung nasa right. So, gagawin mo, flip it by 180 degrees. Ayan. So, when you flip it by 180 degrees, so originally, ganyan yan. Flip mo yan by 180 degrees. Ganito na. The green is pointing towards you. O yung 1 kanina, nasa left, nasa right na siya ngayon. Ay, sorry, nasa right siya, ngayon nasa left na siya. Ay, sorry, ano. Nalilito ako sa mirroring dito eh. Mali pala yung aking connections. Yung red yung number 1, so it should be on the left. Teka lang. Ayan. Nalilito ako sa ano eh. Sa pag ganito yung point of view. So ito yung red yung 1, okay? Baliktad pala ako kanina. So yung red yung 1 nasa left, blue yung 2 nasa right, 3 nasa likod, 4 nasa harap. So when you flip the molecule, yung red mapupunta na sa right, yung blue mapupunta na sa left, and then yung 3 mapupunta na sa harap. Okay? Medyo mahirap mag-visualize. Okay, so yan. So originally, ganito yan. Look at it side by side. Hopefully, nakikita nyo yung molecule. So yun, nasa left na drawing natin. This is the 4 in front. 3 nasa likod. 1 is itong red. 2 is itong blue. So we need to flip it so that the white will be at the back. So ngayon, yung 1 nasa right na. Yung 2 nasa left na. Yung 3 nasa harap na. Okay. So, buong atom pumikot, yes na. There are many ways in rotating it na. So, I highly suggest you talaga to have styroballs with you. Okay. Punta kayo national. Pwede na naman lumabas na. Pero just still be careful. Be careful lang. Ako nga, medyo masama pakiramdam ko, no? Pero, masakit kasi lalamunan ko lang. Nakalimutan ko toothbrush. Ang gross na. Anyway, ayan. Mabilis kasi ako magka-tonsillitis, kaya, yeah. Ayan, kumain pa naman ako ng matatamis last night. So, yeah. Then, nakatulog agad ako. So, ayan, flipping it by 180 degrees. Yan na siya. So, the least priority is now on the back. Determine the rotation. That's 1, 2, 3, counterclockwise. Meaning that is S. Okay. So, ayun, ganun lang. So, this one will be S in the designation because it is counterclockwise, no? When you rotate the priorities. Okay. So, ayan, since may idea na kayo on how to use your arms to determine the rotation, pwede nyo i-practice yan. But again, I highly suggest you to just focus on this. No? Okay? And of course, most importantly, if you can create models like what I have, doesn't need to be this naman. No? Mahal kasi sa Shopee to, mga 600 din. No? And medyo matagal to i-deliver. So, styroballs na lang. Okay? Kaya bahala, be creative na. Yan. Di ba sa experiment nyo may mga styroball kayo doon? Di ba? Nung nag-Lewis structure. Yan, you can use that na. Styroball o kaya crumpled paper. Whatever fits your need. Okay na yan. Ayan, so basically, that's the entire chapter 2. Chapter 6, part 2. Okay? Kailangan alam mo lang yung chiral carbon. When is it chiral? Kailangan alam mo kung mirror image ba siya. Kapag nagkapatong sila, do they superimpose? If not, probably enantiomer yun. Okay? Pero if they don't have any relationship at all, diastereomer yan. Okay? Hindi sila, katulad na nilagay ko dito. Like, hindi talaga sila related kahit ano mangyari. And most probably, diastereomer yan. Diastereomer meaning, ang common lang sa kanila is chiral sila. But they are not mirror image. Neither they are superimposable. Okay, so ganun lang. Ayun. So, that will be our review session. So, hopefully, na-refresh kayo. Again, try to answer the practice quizzes that I posted on Canvas. Okay. So, yan lang. Try nyo lang. And even sa laboratory, no? Sa laboratory, I have a lot of questions na nilagay doon. Okay. Ako kasing gumagawa ng quizzes ninyong lahat. So, if you go to your Canvas, sa laboratory, may ganun na din, right? Kagabi. Mas maraming questions dito sa lab na 60 items. Ibig sabihin, pag mataas kayo dito, mas likely mataas na rin kayo sa mismong quiz. No? Okay? Practice lang naman to eh. So, it doesn't have any time limit. Okay? Wala siyang time limit. So, kayo bahala. Ayan. So, kung ano yung nandito, actually, parang ito na rin yung quiz. No? So, it contains basic questions na rin. Even yung reaction, basic lang din. Okay? Ako na rin, ito. Ano daw dito yung mag-produce ng methyl cyclopentane kapag nagkatalytic hydrogenation. Okay? Something like that. No? So, yan. Ito, HBr, this is hydrohalogenation. Saan mapupunta yung H? Saan mapupunta yung Br? Ano sagot dyan? Edi ito. Ayan. So, ganun lang. Okay? So, ito. Acid catalyzed hydration of an alkene. Ito daw yung product. Ano yung reactant? Okay, na bahala dyan. Okay? So, basically, ganun lang. Kung ano yung nandito na sa lab, yun na rin yung nasa quiz ninyo. Hindi siya 60 items. 20 items lang yung quiz for the lecture and the lab. Okay. And sabi, 13 reminders. So, just 20 items lang. Ginawa ko lang 60 yung practice para marami talaga kayong items na masagutan. Okay? Pero, expect na that is just 20 item question. More on nomenclature and basic reactions. Tapos ang nangyari pa nga while I'm filming this, naputol pala. Kasi apparently, di ba si watch the video, may part na naka-camera lang ako, may part na naka-screen din ako, naka-screen share. Pagdating sa dulo, nakalimutan ko i-screen share. So yun, kaya dalawang part siya. So ito yung lumang recording ko last year. So yun, that will be all for our session and I hope you learned something. And again, Thursday will be our quiz day for both lecture and lab. So good luck. And I will post this on Canvas together with the PowerPoint na meron nakadata. Okay, so thank you and see you again next week for the chapter 7, which is about aromatic compounds. So see you and ingat muna for now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye po.